Okay. Well then, hello everybody. This is Sports Goofs number 220. It's me, Francisco. I'm joined by my good buddy Andrew here, Charles over there, and we're doing a thing once again. Um, Andrew wasn't here the last time, but we got some actual sports stuff to talk about, Andrew. So we're not gonna hijack the show. That last time was our Super Bowl with regards to the video games and stuff. So now that's ended. You know, the Summer Games Fest, all that stuff. So we probably won't have anything till maybe the fall, right, Charles? Around September, October is when the other ones come through.
I say October. Yeah,
for like
that's
State of
when
Play
time
or
to
whatever.
play them.
Anyways, as far as everything else is concerned, it's been a very hectic few weeks of sports here. With regards to free agency and the NBA and the NHL. A lot of massive movements, a lot of emotional movements for myself as well. I mean, I think Andrew's Lightning haven't really had anything of massive note with regards to losses of significant players. But NBA's got a ton of massive movement as well.
Well, I would beg to differ, honestly, with you, sir, about us not losing pieces.
Who'd you lose?
We can get to that.
Okay.
Well, we lost Nick Paul yesterday. He was one of our
the worst of the Paul brothers.
He was a bottom six forward for us. He had an absolutely monster game against the Maple Leafs in the 2002 playoffs. He basically carried us.
Yeah.
2022, yeah. He basically carried us, I think, in game 7. Just absolutely carried us. And I'm gonna miss him because, I mean, for one thing, he was a bottom six forward. He wasn't gonna light the lamp all the time, but he did score quite a bit. And also just his personality, he was kind of one of those kind of semi-leaders. He didn't have the A on his chest or the C on his chest. And he was only there for three years, but he was one of those people that kind of stood out as being one of the leaders in the locker room. So that's more than anything is what I'm going to miss with him. We also traded Darren Radish, who was a right-handed defenseman.
All right, that is one person significant that left. He made a pretty big mark this past season, that's for sure.
I mean, I'll be honest. There is a chance that he may regress. I mean, he had one of those patented, goes off in a contract year. I mean, he scored over 20 goals as a defenseman. He multiplied career stats at the exact right time. Good for him on getting the bag. He's getting, I think, around $8 million a year. It's just that was too much for us to pay because we have a cap
for that position, right? Remember, I don't know contract
right-handed defensemen are a commodity.
Okay. So it is a lot.
If you can, because if you look at the statistics, I think it's like 60. It's basically 2/3 of players go by left-handed, which is completely irrelevant to what their actual handedness. It just means that their right hand is on the top of the stick, left hand is lower.
Same. Sorry.
And then, so right-handed,
we're goofs, guys. What can we say?
We're goofs. And then then a right-handed shooter, which is rarer. It's like 1/3 of the league. It's the other way: left hand on top, right hand on the bottom. Because you only have 6 defensemen versus 12 forwards, roughly. You're lucky if you get 2 right-handed defensemen on a team. So they are worth their weight in gold. The big reason why is because when you're set up in the zone for power play or whatever, you want someone that can have their stick blade right on the boards. So you can just pass it around the boards and someone will pick it up. A lefty is going to be more useful on the left side because his stick is going to be right on the boards, less useful on the right side, but that's where your right-handed defenseman comes in. Radish is one of those, and he is a bit older. I think he's like 30, which is old by hockey standards. So yeah, I'm happy for him getting the bag from the Leafs. We did just replace him though last night. We picked up John Carlson from the Hurricanes. Actually,
No, I thought he was with Anaheim.
He was with Anaheim.
Okay.
He got traded to Carolina in the offseason, and then I guess they couldn't sign him, and so he went to us. He is a right-handed defenseman, and he has a lot of experience. He won the Cup with the Capitals back in 2018. He's played, I think, over 1,100 games. He's more of an offensive defenseman from what I've read. I mean, I'll be honest, outside of the star players in the league, I don't really follow other players that aren't on the Lightning. So I don't know a whole lot about his game. I just know that he was integral to the Capitals and played pretty much his entire career with the Capitals, with Ovechkin, things like that. So in terms of veteran leadership, that's going to be a huge bonus for us. He's good for 40, 50 points a year, which is a lot for a defenseman. So, hopefully that'll work out for us. We also lost another defenseman, Declan Carlisle. He was young. I forget.
Breaking news.
He was someone that. What's that?
News.
Go ahead. Continue. Finish your thought. I got to verify my sources.
I mean, as far as Ovechkin, he's coming back, so he did mention.
Yeah,
Ovechkin
he's coming back for one more year,
so
at least.
He'll have a last dance there. So I think he just wants the retirement tour. I don't know why you wouldn't want the retirement tour if you're like that legendary of a player. I couldn't see him just like, I'm just not going to do it. You get all the presents, you get all the accolades, and then the praise from everybody in the league. He's already gotten that since he broke Gretzky's record. So, like, why not? Why not do the retirement tour and then go out on top and got his cup, got all that. I mean, Caps don't really have to do anything with regards to marketing that's for sure.
So I did find the information on Carlisle. He is 26. And a defenseman. He was someone that I really hoped we could keep, because he's going to be, a part of. If he develops the way it looks like, he is going to be a really good defenseman in the league. He actually was named a nominee for the Hobie Baker Award when he was in college. It's basically the Heisman for men's collegiate ice hockey. So we lost him. We didn't trade him. We lost him in RFA, restricted free agency, to Pittsburgh. So, July 1st, the past couple of days really sucked because we lost Carlisle, we lost Radish, we lost Paul, and we weren't really making any sort of significant moves. And we were starting to get really nervous. Julian Brisebois, GM, is he actually going to do something, or is he just gonna sit there and let the world go by, which is very easy now, especially with the Atlantic, because the Canadians are really young and are up and coming. You've seen what the Panthers have done the past few years, except for last year. which I will attribute to injuries. I'm not going to be one of those people who thinks they've completely fallen off. You guys got a lot of really impactful injuries. Hell, even the Sabres coming out of nowhere. Again, going back to my point from a couple of weeks ago, pretty much whoever wins the Atlantic is going to end up in the Stanley Cup right now. I know this year accepted because the Canes went through and won, but
they're the only good team in the Metro Division. They're essentially an Atlantic Division team at this point.
Exactly. If I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet money, I would be confident in betting money on the Atlantic Division winner representing the Eastern Conference. And, if you want more information on this, if you're listening, go back to a couple of episodes. The last episode I was on, which was in the middle of the Stanley Cup. And congratulations, Carolina Hurricanes. Thank you for taking down Vegas and Carter, no means no Hart, which, by the way, the Blues signed another one of those players, and I am pissed. I forget. I think it may be Dubé. I forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I saw some Blues fans anyway, were not happy about that.
Yeah, no. That's a black mark for me to sign one of those players. I know they were acquitted by the judge because the judge felt there wasn't enough evidence to go forward with the trial, but reading some of those reports, you have to imagine this is one of those. I mean, I was with the prosecutor's office for only a couple of months, but one thing that I learned is that sexual assault cases are really hard to prove because it pretty much just comes down to he said, she said. And when you do that, when you get to that case, it's tough to prove beyond a reasonable doubt if the man assaulted the woman. Well, it could be a woman assaulting a man, whatever. But traditionally,
in this context, but yeah.
I would say perpetrator is an easier.
Okay, that's a better word. It's the perpetrator did commit
the accused, as defense counsel loves to say all the time. We're attorneys, guys. Sorry,
we're attorneys. Our job is words. So, you innocent until proven guilty. I know, but damn, those guys seem really guilty to me.
There was also,
but I digress.
Yeah, but I mean, also, I guess, kind of not leading into it, but just to make a mention, because Jonathan Toews retired as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as a lot of people will celebrate his career, especially in Chicago, I get it. And he went back to Winnipeg, which is where he's from, for a final season with the Jets. But there's that amount of people that, of course, criticize him for how he handled the Kyle Beach situation with Chicago. Mm-hmm. Some excuse him like, he's a hockey player and what was he supposed to do? He's a young captain at the time, but do
you know about that, Charles?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, and we talked about it before.
Him, Taves, Patrick Kane, Joel Quenneville. I mean, ultimately, everyone has a part to play in it, but when you're one of the leaders on the team as a player, your responsibility is heightened a bit. I don't care if you're a young captain, that's your job, is to protect your teammates and to stand up for them. And it's tough when you're young and you don't want to piss people off. You're in the pinnacle of this sport and you don't want to lose that. But man, that's tough to swallow if you're a fan looking from the outside in, that why didn't you do anything? You basically ruined that guy's life. Certainly ended his career, essentially. And what I think hurts the most, well, no, that's not true, but to add insult to injury, they got shoot, I forget his name. They got a really good player in the first round of the draft, despite everyone thinking they should have lost the draft pick. Connor Bedard, yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought they should have lost that draft pick because of what happened, but they just got fined a couple of $1 million, and that was it. And Quenneville was kind of on the naughty list for a couple of seasons, and now he's back. So did anything really happen? No, not really.
At least not to those Blackhawks, but all right.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of NHL free agency is concerned, I don't want to make this a Panthers stream as well, because I've already discussed it. We've got Brady Tkachuk. That was something that talked about on the Locked On Panthers podcast. So we got both the Tkachuk brothers now as part of all of this, and the Florida Panthers are losing some guys along the way, though. Most notably, this free agency, we lost Sergei Bobrovsky. But that seemed to have been in the cards.
Riddance, man.
Well, I mean, it's not really
riddance, man.
Not really good riddance. But
sorry, let me clarify. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting $7 million a year from the Maple Leafs. He is not worth $7 million a year right now, especially with you guys bang up on the cap.
Right?
Bob will be 38 years old by the beginning of this coming season.
I know things.
He is old, and again, old is relative to everyone listening. I'm old. I mean, I'm old by athletic standards. We're all old by athletic standards, even though we're in the prime of our lives.
I subscribe to the boxing age, where you could still be effective at 38.
And Charles blew out his sphincter today. Come on now.
Yes, I did.
But, I'm not saying that Bobrovsky is to the point where he's relegated to backup role. He's still got some juice in him.
Like he's in his Ed Belfour last few years, just kind of hopping from one team to the other type of phase right now.
I don't think he's worth $7 million.
Martin Brodeur on the St. Louis Blues.
Oh God. That was just that did not sit right with me. But yeah, he's not worth $7 million right now. So I know everyone is sad that you're losing him. Believe me, if I was in the position where
I wasn't sad,
we had to.
Yeah,
I really wasn't sad.
I've seen some people
are sentimental.
Some of my. Yeah. Some of our law school classmates are Panthers fans, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're losing Bobrovsky."
So like,
bad though.
So like, my supervisor at work, he was her favorite player, and it's like, "Aren't you sad?" I'm like, I don't know. It must be the part of me that obviously is a hockey analyst too, but I saw the writing on the wall. It looked like he wasn't going to come down from what he wanted as far as money and term was concerned. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he did get older. And yeah, this past season didn't look great for him. And I understand the Panthers weren't the same team in front of him. But if the Panthers want to get one more out of this, I think they squeezed as much as they could out of Sergei Bobrovsky. I don't know if he had one more postseason in him to do what he did, because he was great in 2025. He probably should have won the Conn Smythe in 2024, and did what he needed to do. I commend him. He's gonna have his number retired at some point with the Panthers. A few years after he retires, he's gonna go to the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's done all of that. The greatest Russian goaltender of all time as well. So
for right now,
who else is in front of him? Oh, your boy.
For right now,
your boy. I get it. But in any case,
I will concede right now He's the best Russian goaltender of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least played in the NHL.
So
I mean, maybe Vladislav Tretiak, but
if your boy stays healthy long enough, he'll probably surpass Bobrovsky's numbers. So yes.
Although you could also make an argument for Javi Bulin.
Yeah,
although
I guess so, but still, the 2 Stanley Cups.
Javi Bulin just has the 1 cup.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
So that definitely works.
But he does have the Conn Smythe for not winning it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. But yeah, so Bobrovsky's gone. He went to Toronto. That Maple Leafs team, I don't even know what they're going to try and do with that. I really don't.
Austin Matthews and his bad mustache.
I don't see how they are going to compete now with an even stronger Atlantic Division. That is, I'm sure Victor Hedman's going to be back, and right back in the right mental space for him with the Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't expect the Lightning to fall off that far in any case from what they did in 2026. Buffalo is kind of like I still want to wait and see. I know they did so much this past season, but man, they just came out of nowhere so quickly that I was just like, oh man, is this real or not? Montreal, I do feel is real. I do feel that they're real. Boston I can see fall off. I can definitely see Boston falling off. And then the Panthers, I'm expecting them to be better. I believe Ottawa is definitely not going to be as good. That's for sure. Ottawa's probably going to drop off and probably pack it in. And Detroit's Detroit. They're just disappointing in every way whatsoever right now, which is pretty interesting to see there. And the Leafs, I mean, unless they get some sort of miracle season out of Sergei Bobrovsky, I really don't see what they're supposed to do. I mean,
it's nothing against Bobrovsky. He's a great goaltender. It's just
or Gavin McKenna, like it's going to be his first NHL season, and what you're hoping another 60 season rookie campaign or whatever that Austin Matthews did. I don't think that's going to happen either. And that's it.
And Matthews might be out the door soon.
So yeah, I mean, all of his Team USA teammates are. I mean, Tkachuk already made his way out, and if it doesn't look like he's gonna want to stay anymore in Toronto, then what's the point of them keeping him at this point? If McKenna ends up actually being really good, could they swing a massive trade and try and do, I don't know, some sort of Herschel Walker type of deal with some other team and try and make themselves really good? But I don't see how that Leafs team is going to be better than Montreal, going to be better than Tampa, going to be better than Florida. Maybe they can be on par with Boston if all of these guys gel, but I don't see it. All right.
It's.
Yeah. I'm gonna read off the major free agents that are still left here. So there's a few of them out there, and then you got Patrick Kane. I don't see him going back to Detroit. I mean, honestly, just go back to Chicago and have your retirement tour, dude. Just do it.
He old.
Claude Giroux, Ottawa.
He really old.
I mean, I could see him just having
just
packing it in for what happened?
It's like 43, right? Kane.
Kane. I think Kane's like all right. No,
I don't think Kane's 43.
Yeah, he's like 37.
I feel like it's just because he's that guy who's had the longevity the same way that Ovechkin
yeah, he came
has.
up when
really pushing.
Came up when he was like 18 or 19. So yeah, he's been there forever.
I'm gonna check it real quick for confirmation because I was correct on one for Bro, or Bobrovsky, so I got to do it for this.
Because I think he was.
Giroux might be 43.
I think 2006 was
Giroux
when
might be 43.
Jonathan Toews was.
Patrick Kane is 37. So
okay, but I think he was drafted in 2007. I believe that was the draft that he was drafted in.
That's right.
Okay, and then let's see, David Perron, Vladimir Tarasenko, Riley Smith, James Van Riemsdyk, Tyson Yost, Adam Henrique, Brandon Saad, Tanner Pearson, Tomasz Nosek. The Panthers haven't signed him back. Let's see, Logan Stanley, John Klinkberg, Michael Adam Boquist. Let's see, and then some goaltenders, Peter Mrazek. I mean, these are guys like James Reimer, he's, a journeyman as well. Connor Ingram, Cam Talbot also. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. But all right. All right. Well, I mean, that's some NHL talk, guys. We're 27 minutes into this.
I will just add something quickly about the Panthers is I am, well, if I was a Panthers fan, I would be concerned about your goaltending.
Well, we got Jacob Markstrom.
He's pretty good, but he's not.
Well, that's the thing.
He's not A tier goalie.
Well,
he's not an A tier goalie.
No, it's certainly not Sergei Bobrovsky when he was coming off of the Vezina trophies from Columbus. I guess that's why the Panthers are kind of loading up on depth pieces as far as their roster is concerned. Because I mean, as far as our centers are concerned, we are deep when it comes to our first three lines, and then our fourth line is usually guys that are very serviceable, plug and play 1-year deals. Goaltending, yeah, it'll be the ultimate question for the Panthers is coming up. So Jacob Markstrom had some. That New Jersey team was hit and miss with regards to like their expectations of being really good, and sometimes they were and sometimes they weren't. But I think the Panthers are hoping that if he has a great team in front of him, we just need him to make the important ones. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he just needs to make more than the other guy on the other side. Right. Was it the Grant Fuhr thing? Or is it we just need him to stop more than the other guy? So that's all they're hoping for. Maybe Markstrom, because he hasn't won a Vezina or anything like that. But if you have at least a serviceable goaltender, you'll be fine. I
don't think he's going to steal you any games.
I mean, he might. But every goaltender has the ability to steal you a game. I think that I don't think but you don't want a situation like Edmonton where you can't really rely on a guy at all. Because Markstrom was a goaltender. He's been with only a few teams. It's not like he hops back and forth or whatever. I mean, he started out with Florida, got traded to Vancouver for Luongo, and then went off to New Jersey. I don't know if he had one more stop along the way there, but for the most part, he hasn't been bouncing back and forth, and he's usually been a starter since he's come up after he left Florida. So I think he'll be okay. I'm hoping that the team in front of him is really locked down and good, because we just saw one of the worst goaltending performances from both teams in the Stanley Cup final. Like,
listen, it's the John Madden thought process. Just
and
I
bet you the Edmonton Oilers were just kicking in themselves, thinking, why didn't we make the final this year? We could have beaten that Carolina team with that goaltending performance. Mm-hmm. And yet they got Bobrovsky back-to-back seasons. So, but yeah, we just saw two teams that had terrible goaltending make it to the Cup final. I know that Carter Hart and Vegas, they were doing better as far as the goaltending was concerned, but Carolina had serviceable enough goaltending from Freddie Anderson and then Bussy that they just had a great team all around that, hey, they could make up for the mistakes of their goalies because they had Freddie Anderson. And I did say the last time we talked about this that it was a blessing in disguise that Anderson got mildly concussed, because it just gave it a different look. Was it a
concussion?
It was at least something enough for them to set him. I don't know, or some other type of injury, or it was just a valid enough excuse for Rod Brindamore to be like, no, he's a little hurt. I'm going to have to put my other goaltender, without really hurting Freddie Anderson's feelings, because now he left also in free agency, Carolina. Who did he sign with? Mm-hmm. He signed with I forget. He signed with somebody. I think it was today too. But in any case,
he is now with Edmonton.
Well, would you look at that? All right, Edmonton. We'll see how that works
He's
out.
on a 1 year, $2.75 million.
Yeah,
wow.
that's a show me contract if there ever was one. Because
he is a bit up there. He is 36.
Yeah, but Edmonton needs something to make Connor McDavid want to stay there too. That's also a big thing for this coming season is, can the Oilers do something to convince that man to stay? If not, you have the most valuable trade piece in NHL history aside from Wayne Gretzky, and you got to do something with that because you cannot let him. You cannot be the Anaheim Angels with Ohtani. You just cannot be.
Sir, you got to go grander. You said Ohtani Angels. You cannot be the Cleveland Cavaliers LeBron James first go around and let him walk for free.
No, it was a sign and trade when he came to the Miami Heat.
Well, you understand. You're trying to go on the trade. We'll take semantics of the contracts away. We're talking about like you didn't build enough for your team. You didn't do enough.
Yeah.
You did X, Y, Z.
Okay. All right then. Let's see.
Speaking of LeBron James.
Well.
Something about aging veterans. You know, there are those who
Pat Riley
are just
constructing the 2018
gasp.
All-Star team right now.
Yeah, well, better than old and stay. I'll give Skip Bayless that. Listen, last chance Charlie is a mindset I have when the chips are not down, but you see potential. That's everything here.
I'm sharing the screen here. I'm just these funny posts out here. The Lakers new starting five. Like Stephen A. Smith he had like this podcast entry where it's just like that there's no brothers on the Los Angeles Lakers anymore. And then someone put, who's stopping them? Not the police. I know that much.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The Snow Time Lakers. That's the other name for them.
Los Angeles Kirks. Okay, I get that.
And then it's also the end of Pride Month, so the Marlins they've gone 0-2 since Pride Month ended, guys. So I think it's over. That one San Francisco Giants pitcher that wrote the Bible verse on his hat and then refused to wear it. He's gone 7-14 since, he has a 7.14 ERA since he did that. So his ERA beareth witness.
Just suck it, man.
So that's funny. And then we talked about Sergei Bobrovsky leaving the Panthers. All right. Let's see. We are now 35 minutes in. So yeah, we can talk a little bit about the NBA free agency, huh, Charles?
I'm going to let you guys go with that because.
Well, I mean,
I don't know that much.
I could help you on the Magic real quickly.
I mean, the biggest one. The biggest thing that I recall about the Magic, we brought back Vujicic. The weirdest thing, we let Jonathan Isaac go, and then we immediately picked him back up in free agency. So that made absolutely no sense.
Hey, I think it's if he had an option, they can't renegotiate contracts the way they do in the NFL.
And I mean, that's what I've seen, at least in terms of notable moves with the
Mo
Magic.
Wagner's not on your team anymore.
Oh, shit.
It's one Wagner wonder.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. I know Andrew was following him. That's for sure. Let's see.
A fun story about, I don't know if I talked about this.
I think you told me, but go ahead.
I'm verifying which Wagner it is.
I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if it was Mo or Franz. I think it might have been Franz.
I think it was Mo.
Oh, it was Mo? Okay.
Well, Andrew's not as devastated though. I think Franz is the guy that's
I'm
better,
fairly
right?
devastated. I mean, the Wagners were pretty good for us. You know, it hurt when we lost Mo in the playoffs this year. But anyway, about a year or so ago, when he was injured with his ACL, he made a guest appearance on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is NPR game show, which airs on Saturdays. It came to
Mo Wagner's
Orlando.
on the Nets now. Sorry. He went to the Nets. 2 years, 19 million.
Poor guy. So they usually broadcast out of Chicago, but occasionally they will travel around, and they came to Orlando. And while he was recouping from his ACL injury, I believe it was, he made a guest appearance, because the show always brings some kind of a guest on in the middle segment of the show. So that was fun to see him talking about how he talks trash with players in various languages. So that was funny. So that'll hurt to miss him, and that'll hurt with chemistry a bit, because siblings always seem to have a certain innate chemistry that helps whatever team they're playing on.
Yeah, Kazakhs are going to go for that too. All right. Let's see. NBA is going to be testing a new rule during the Summer League, a rule that they've been doing in the G League for quite some time. One free throw rule.
Can you explain that to me? I didn't quite understand what that's all about.
So it says here, when free throws are awarded, this is according to NBA Communications, so this is their official PR arm here. When free throws are awarded, one free throw worth 1, 2, or 3 points will be attempted. Okay.
Basically, it's just like a lottery ball.
Yeah, or kind of like a field goal in a sense, like in football. I mean, they're technically called field goals in the NBA too, but
yeah, just after touchdown points is the best way to view it if you're going to.
Let's see. Standard NBA free throw rules will apply in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and during overtime. And the G League has been doing it since 2020 to improve the game flow. So I think they're just trying to streamline this game somewhat. I know there's a ton of replay used in the NBA, and there's a lot of timeouts there. So I think they're just trying to find some way to shave off some time there. So I guess free throws will.
But I don't know how you're going to do that, because guys are still going to attempt to go to the line. It's not going to change Harden's approach. It's not going to change Shade's approach. Mind you, Harden will be retired if it ever gets implemented. The simple solution is you just lessen up on all the fouls called, right? If we want to make sure there's no stalling to the game. Occam's razor. Just because you're saying, hey, the free throw that you're going for might not be of the same points. And to give you an example, Andrew, in today's league, everybody's like chucking threes, right? So if you're chucking threes and you get fouled out, slows the process to get 3 free throw shots, and the same thing go to twos. But it's not going to stop it, because people are going to take advantage. They're still going to go drive. They're still going to get fouled, unless it's the playoffs, right? It's going to be all these things. So it's not going to change it at all, in my opinion. If anything, what it does, to be very honest with you, it changes a little bit of the capacity of who you draft in big men, because big men can't really hit the free throws as much, but it might make certain selections. There's a difference between DeAndre Jordan having to go to the line versus if you have a Jokic, right, going in there. So maybe get some strategy, but it's still going to slow up the game. You're putting more pressure on the mindsets and the coaches to do it. I don't care if it gets implemented or not. I feel like to this day, I still don't know what a dribble is, or a walk or a travel or double dribble, and it never gets called. Everybody travels in the NBA. There's a reason why they implemented that ball in hand kind of stuff that they do as you're going into it.
So you're not carrying none of that stuff. Yeah.
The simple solution is you make it 3 steps instead of dribble 2, right? But look, the only people, I'm going to say it right now. I gotta get on the soapbox for 2 seconds. It is going to be 2 seconds. The only people who actually care about travel as much as you think is playing on the blacktop at the park or the gym on the hardwood. I know that because I play. I beat a 19-year-old the other day. I was sucking air hardcore, guys. Ugh. God, but I did it. I conditioned like LeBron because he ages gracefully as we try. But to bring it back is that it's not really going to make an effect of it. And it's really about the refereeing. And you can make the refereeing easier if you just shoot out the rules that you can already lessen on, as opposed to implementing a new rule in a smaller process. You say, hey, this is a foul to us, because it reminds me in the NFL of like, what is a catch? And they don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, because for many years it was like the ball can't be moving. Now it can, but you have to cradle it. And I'm in my head, I'm like, if the ground's going to get, it's just so many things. And then it makes me realize that I'm like, we're just stupid, and we just do it for our entertainment. So just change certain things. But that's just my thought on the free throw process. You're going to do it, and I don't think it's going to get anywhere in the main league, to be very honest with you. Because I think everybody's going to realize it's kind of like bad for business because we become free throw merchants. You just have to find a different alternative route for interest.
Speaking of free throw merchants, well, as far as the available NBA free agents as of 8 hours ago, we still got
keeping for the big the big commentary for after the free agent list.
Well, yeah, I mean, because our Miami Heat did make some actual moves here, and there were other actual moves too when it came to the Philadelphia 76ers.
So many.
There's a lot actually, but I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna do the reverse of what we did with the NHL. Give out who's here right now, and then we'll talk about the actual move that's happened since then. But got LeBron, obviously. Charles is trying to court him right now, offering up various body parts. So there you go. We got James Harden.
My condolences for not making the finals of the LeBron sweepstakes.
I'm just hoping.
Let's see. We got James Harden. We got Draymond Green. So he's not coming back to Golden State.
He opted out because they're trying to get LeBron.
Yeah, I know. And he'll probably he'll probably sign for like the minimum of whatever and see what happens. But Jalen Duren, Peyton Watson, Benedict Mathurin, Tari Eason, Jonathan Kuminga, Rui Hachimura, Anthony Simons, Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, who might come to Miami, Chris Middleton, who might follow Giannis to Miami, Andre Drummond, Gary Payton II, Josh Okogie, Bruce Brown, Javonte Green, Kevin Looney, Nick Batum, Gary Trent Jr., Jordan Clarkson, Nick Richards, Kenrick Williams, Matisse Thybulle,
Nick Batum,
Gabe Vincent. You want to come back to Miami? Yeah. Kelly Olynyk, you want to come back to Miami? So there you go. So those are the available notable free agents that are still left.
The only thing I'll say on the free agent for the Heat, particularly of who I would entertain ideas on, is obviously Bradley Beal. Because the thing is, like, yeah, you're an old sport, but you're like 2 years removed from like anything devastating, and you can score. So you interest me. I like Russell as a player, always have, but it is not going to work in that sense because I don't need you trying to be banging the glass when we have Bam and Giannis going from there. And then it's like you need shooters, and it's just like those guys are very hit or miss. And you need a little bit of shot creators, and some of those guys are hit or miss. But some of them are just doo-doo that you just listed out. And it does make you wonder. I feel like this is the year where Spo is actually just going to put hard minutes on people drafted, like Ryan Conwell. And then, was it Trey Anderson from Miami? At the point guard position, say, Jesus, take the wheel, which is very different for him to do. But if you can teach and they can learn, something magical might happen.
Well, we'll see.
But it's not in his repertoire to do so.
No,
because we let Norm Powell go to Chicago, but that was fine. I didn't care for Norm Powell.
That's fine. He had a pedestrian type of season, so it was fine.
He got his All-Star. That's fine. I'm glad he got his money. I'll take any person making their money. It's just I need you to be able to contribute, and he was gone for the back half. Just like a certain man who hates a certain other man. I'm like, okay, bud.
Well,
Tyler Hero.
Well, look, I mean,
Trey Donaldson.
We finally got rid of him, and we got Giannis back over here. So I'm especially happy right now.
Can we lead with this?
Go ahead. I mean, it's fine. I mean, this is what we were going to talk about anyways. This is the big thing. This is the big thing I was expecting to talk about.
Because it's humble pie time for Charles, and it's an old phraseology that we haven't used because I haven't been wrong for a bit, right? But I had stated I had concerns about Giannis and everything of that nature because of the position he plays and at the age. But then I sat and I really thought about it. I took emotion out because I told myself, who else are you getting, right? And I was talking to my buddy who is trying to tell me that he hated the Giannis trade. And the thing is, when you have to like defend a position for something, and that's what makes you open your eyes, you're seeing it from the other perspective. And that's what it's called maturity, ladies and gentlemen. I really looked at it of why I am excited for the trade. It's not the LeBron prospect. I actually do think he goes to Golden State, and I think that's folly for him. He's a grown-ass man. Agree. Yeah, it's that opt-out from Draymond is just such a indicator because there's tampering in the NBA. Always has been. There's tampering in all sports. And, it's just sometimes you want to play with your boys, right? But I was telling a friend, I'm like, I looked at everything throughout the year, and I appreciate Bam. I love Bam, especially everything he did last year, but he is not the main man on scoring. He's a jack of all trades on the offensive aspect of it. He really shines on being defense and team leader. And I looked at like the last 4 or 5 years. I'm like, well, who's the guy? It wasn't Tyler. And there was roles I appreciate Tyler in. I didn't hate him, but the role was just like, you're a piece of the puzzle, or you're not a corner piece, but you're kind of in there. And then you look at some of like our other guys, like we all loved, or Jimmy was your boyfriend. I loved him to a degree until he got bratty, but Jimmy wasn't really a productive offensive player. He just had great offensive moments. And then I looked at everything and I said, well, you know what? We tried really, when you think about it, for the last 5 years, going on 6, to build within. Aside from like signing Jimmy and everything, we got Jaime, and I liked Jaime a lot. He's the only one I'm going to miss out. Kasparas Giacchionis, try to say that 5 times fast, Giacchionis. Spo played the Spo thing where he doesn't really play rookies a lot, so I can't say potential versus actuality. Giannis is a real deal. Kasparas, we don't know, right? It's just there. I liked Kel'el Ware, but obviously he didn't play to the hustle that Spo wanted, and it's not as if he was producing 25, 10 each night. And some people say, well, you need to give the opportunity. I'm like, I get that, but I'm going to trust Spo in a little bit on that end. So those are the chips I gave. And then we did all the first round picks, but the first round picks can go half and half because the idea is that, and the East is still weak. It's always going to be perennially a week, and the Knicks, congrats. What we talked about last show, Andrew, you were there. It's like they are the least best NBA Finals winning team I've seen. The power of friendship, and they're all likable except for James Dolan. But that's just
we akin this version of the Spurs as the '95 Orlando Magic, where they should have won the finals, but their youth or whatever lost it for them. So
yeah, and that kind of yields into it. So, and then we get Tyler, and we kind of know what it is. But the thing is, with Tyler, it's just like, I'm just surprised somebody would want to take him on because his unavailability hurt more. You can talk about high points per game, and then his shot efficiency is bad. Looking at you, Boston, just saying about Jaylen Brown. But it's about the availability. And I said, well, we spent so long trying to build within that I wasn't working. So let's just build outside. And I think for me, getting Bobby Portis is a nice touch because I like Bobby Portis. Oh, Charles, they're old. I'm like, that's fine. But who's to say that Bobby Portis is going to be on this team by the time everything is completed? He could be a bargaining chip to get those, complementary players that we need to build around. And if we get LeBron, it's fine. But I really looked at it and I said, Charles, and I calmed myself down. I took a moment. I said, if LeBron can go at 42, who's to say Giannis can't go at 31, right? Or he's going to be, I think, 31. And then you saw Bam, and then you have question marks within the holes on the roster. But I've seen Eric Spoelstra take a team that had Max Struss, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, and Jimmy Butler, amongst other people, Tyler Hero is right here, to the finals and almost beat that LeBron Lakers team. And if I said if it was any other coach, I'll be like, those are knockoff players, right? And they couldn't do anything with them. But it's that coaching comes in. But now we have that guy who could just be like, it's on me, I got this, and actually do it. Because I love Jimmy when he was here, but his whole thing of like, it's on me, I got this, melted away a little bit in the finals, right? And
Mhm.
then Tyler wanted to be the guy who said, it's on me, I got this. I'm like, brother, lights are too bright. And bam, because we know what that ceiling is, and I said that a couple years ago, I'm like, no, be the best at what you can be, which was an excellent all NBA defensive player, and just up your scoring for a bit. But the whole thing is like we were relying on Bam to be a 20 burger production, and everybody else was giving you like the 12 or 15. So it's because of what you have, and the defense is going to be fine. But we've always had good defense. We just can't score.
Yeah.
And when you're in that drought, right? But that's why I really had to sit and think about it, because I said, Charles, you forgot the pieces of the puzzle. That's one thing, but you forgot who was the brain trust, and that's just it. He's the best coach in the NBA. And if you guys do not agree with that, you need to give me some compelling evidence of who it might be. You can entertain me on the concept of Rick Carlisle to be able to succeed on his, his portfolio of teams with the Mavericks and then the Pacers, and then even taking that Pacers team that shouldn't have arguably gone to the finals last year and still did it. Okay, it's just him. Mike Brown, we make fun of Mike Brown. Mike Brown just got us a little bit dirty, but there's always that manager or coach in sports who gets that one. It's like, ha ha, now you have to call me winner, winner, and I'm like,
Doc
all
Rivers.
right. Yeah, Doc Rivers is one of them, especially in the NBA. One would even venture Mike Malone. I think Mike Malone's brilliant as a coach, and he's off doing stuff in college, so that's a testament to certain things. But at some point, it's like, okay, what else can you do? You get like one, but you don't do anything, and that's weird how sports are. You get it early, but you're not consistently good at all, unless you're just kind of like selling the farm for that 1 year, and you don't care what happens. That's what you guys did with Jim Leland with the Marlins, right? That's what I think about. And then Leland was very like weird, in Detroit, because you had arguably the best starting four in pitching I had seen in my 30 something years of being alive, aside from like the Braves, right, when they had it in the 90s. The point is that I said, I have enough faith in Spo to make chicken shit out of chicken salad for, and that's just the faith of it. And we got Andrew Wiggins still too. And I feel like people hate on Wiggins because he's not this monster producer. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like he had what he needed to do for us, and you cannot like a player because he's not who you want to play all the time. This is to be harsh criticism. You can not like a player, and that's fine. But if your basis of like, I don't like this player because I don't like to play as him in NBA 2K, I'm not gonna listen to you. Or it's because he's not in the highlight reel, or he's always something that ESPN is talking about, or anybody else. That's why I feel like Andrew Wiggins does, in that sense. We look at his trajectory, but I think he fits very well with the Heat, and his contract's a little bit exorbitant. Okay, but people aren't going to pull the Knicks thing where they take less money to play with their boys. That's why we call it the power of friendship. You're not being realistic if you think you can get excellent players for cheap. The LeBron is not going to take minimum money, even though he said he would contemplate it. I contemplate a lot of things, right? Doesn't mean I actually consider it and do it and put the vessels in play to do so. But if this gets me LeBron, and I think he's the best fit in Miami, he would essentially be a de facto point guard, right? And then we could just kind of have the next Mario Chalmers. I just, my whole thing is like that Cavaliers would not function at all between him. If they get Harden back, which is going to be the play, Mitchell, I'm like, what's going on? And what I told my buddy was like, this ain't the Team USA. He might feel that kind of way like he did with Golden State, but you ran through some bumps last year, even though you got close to the wire, not last year, but last Olympics. You got close to the wire on something. You ran through some bumps. You're playing the guys who are on your team now in the different leagues. And it's just more or less like, if you want the feel-good story, why don't you always remember your first, right? And yeah, you butted heads and all this stuff with other people, but there's a reason why I suppose still the coach 13 years later from everything. Ugh, I feel old saying that. You still have the same executives. You have legitimate people. And the thing I kind of tell people too is like, stop falling in love with just pure shooters. I understand everybody is at the at the board saying Steph Curry, and they're shooting and trying to make it from the logo, and no one's going out there and say, they're not going in there to say Rasheed or Ben Wallace and just slapping the ball out on somebody. They're not retired, but not everybody's like great defensive line. I'm not going to say, hey, Draymond, because I don't even think Draymond calls himself Draymond in that sense. You just have to have hope of it. And did we give up too much? Well, the idea is that we're always kind of stuck in perpetual hell of never being in the draft lottery, never getting like the top.
Because the Heat will never tank. So, yeah.
Yeah. And even what the funny thing is, too, is that there's always the possibility we could get it anyway with the way they're going to do the anti-taker rules. But we all three of us know it's only going to last for 5 years, and they're going to change that mechanism.
And it'll be rigged, too. So.
Yeah, but the NBA is not like the NFL and the MLB where they do look at like rebuilds for like a 5-year or 6-year long project, to be very honest with you. They tried that once called The Process in Philly, and y'all know how I feel about that. It really is a like relaunch reload, and that's how I always view the NBA. You have a couple bad years, just relaunch it to a degree. Because even like when Boston was trying to do it after the big three, yes, they had their picks, they traded some people, but they also got those free agent signings that they need to complement it. So I'm more excited for it now. I am looking daily on the Twitter. We got Tim Hardaway Jr. Okay, sure. I guess there's legacy into it. Like he could be like iffy as a shooter because he might be like, oh, he has 13 points a game. That might be good for bench. And then you realize he shoots 36%, and this is real bad. But getting LeBron, I already told you guys, I'll buy his attire. I'll get that merch. I'll get that jersey. I'll get whatever you need from it because he has been that player when I was getting now he was the non-Michael, for me because I didn't care. Like I knew who Kobe was, but I was kind of like Shaq more, right? I was that guy in that sense. But the way LeBron did it at that position at that time was very different. And even though everybody just wants to be shooters now, there was something about his dimension where he was always a very solid defensive player. And he was always, good offensively. And he found a way to become serviceable in his three-point game because that was his biggest weakness, right? And he found a way to be serviceable with it. And you just see him like take on that band and be dominating. And then also, to say this, and I'll leave it at that because I know I've been talking a lot about this man crush I have for him. It's just enveloping. He's that guy that got a lot of criticism, even though he did not have a repugnant character amongst a lot of other people that have played in Lakers in the past who got a lot of, stuff glossed over Kobe. And, I think, well, gotta call a spade a spade. We're the only ones who might be fair in this game, right? The Sports Goose might be the only fairest, objective people on the morality and character. But, yeah, does he whine, always call for a foul? You know what's funny about that, brother? That was the complaint in 2011 on, and that's what everybody's game is now. So he was just ahead of the curve. Harden's always complaining about the fouls. Shay's always complaining about the fouls. So what is now versus what is then? I have them receipts. I save them. They got that little like yellow tinge to them because I kept them in my pocket. And I'll miss him when he's gone. So I'd rather have him be the last dance with us. And then I saw that thing about the Knicks, and I said, "Oh my God, if he goes to the Knicks, I will find a way to die and punch God in the face." I'd be livid. I'd be livid. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, Francisco, if you have commentary to speak on it,
I don't know. Tim Hardaway Jr.'s. I don't know if you want to talk about him. I'm just kidding. No, we're good. We're an hour in, and I want to once again keep this under 2 hours. Obviously, for the AI that clips this show for us. So we're going to do a word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you that we've been enjoying over the last couple weeks, actually. The last 2 weeks. We've been off a bit here. So do you guys have anything in mind that you want to talk about?
You already know. But
I can start this time, believe it or not.
Go for it.
Okay. So it is actually perfect that we are doing this show today because this account just kicked into its annual mode, I guess. So there is a user, used to be on Twitter, now he's on Blue Sky.
Okay.
It goes by the name ID4 in real time. And his whole gimmick is starting on July 1st. What's that?
What's he called?
ID4 in real time on Blue Sky.
Okay.
So his thing every year, starting on July 1st, he does a tweet by tweet. Well, like I said, used to be on Twitter. Whatever Blue Sky calls tweets, a tweet by tweet recap of the plot of Independence Day in real time. So for 4 straight days, like again, starting at midnight on the 1st, like what was the first post he did? I'm curious. Like
I'm going through. I'm showing it on the screen right now. So let's see. Different source inside the Pentagon, not the signal chat this time. So the second of these smaller crafts looks like it would be emerging into the atmosphere somewhere along the coast of California. 11 hours ago, George Putnam of the Sky News Washington Bureau has reported another spacecraft entering the atmosphere over Novosibirsk, Russia. There's widespread looting in the nighttime streets. Guess that means the vodka supply lines haven't been cut off yet. Naval reconnaissance from both San Diego and Honolulu has been rendered useless. All radars are malfunctioning. Surveillance telemetry has been completely wiped out. This is a communications fiasco. Multiple sources, 2 additional spacecraft have been confirmed via satellite along the eastern seaboard. They appear to be heading along the northeast corridor. On the upside, this is literally the only way the Jets have any shot at making the playoffs this season.
I was about to say, what in the hell are you reading? And then we got there.
So he mixes serious, quote unquote, serious commentary. Like his most recent, which was sent 16 minutes ago, it says, "We have lost all regular comms with NYC, LA, and DC. Not sure how much additional info we will be able to provide throughout the night. Hopefully we can get some updates from our military installations, first responders, and perhaps a statement from Air Force One." So this occurs shortly after the White House gets demolished. So, and then he adds some funny stuff in, like, according to Sicko's committee, the annual Nathan's hot dog eating contest set for Independence Day has been postponed. Defending champ Ed Krejci was at Fort Bliss in El Paso, so a new champion was expected to be crowned. That will have to wait. So I subscribe to this guy, and I always look forward to the first because it's such a fun little ride. And in recent years, he's gotten a lot more relaxed with some of his commentary. Like he was talking about how, man, if only there was a gaudy ballroom at the White House, they would have been safe, or something like that. But yeah, I turn off notifications for the account the whole year, but on July 1st, I turn them back on. So I'm seeing this play-by-play come up on my phone. And I always make it a point that when he's doing in the president's speech on the morning of the 4th, I always make sure to stay up, and then I post the GIF of the guy saluting. Yeah, it's stupid, but it's fun. It's a little fun thing to do around the 4th. So that is my non-sponsor, is ID4 in real time. Promo code Welcome to Earth.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go next. Let's see, gentlemen. Well, I got anime, actually, for this one. I've been watching anime. I've been trying to find a TV show to actually watch for quite a bit sometime. I haven't been able to latch on to anything. Kind of just decided to scroll through Netflix because I've been going through with the gaming, still kind of in that lull after beating Death Stranding 2, where I haven't really started anything significant since then. I have played some games. I went back into the VR stuff again, beat a Game Boy Advance game last night, but been watching one anime TV show I do want to kind of share here, just because of the premise. You guys know I like my weird premises from time to time here with my anime. Let's see here. So this is on Netflix. At least I'm sure you can find it someplace else, maybe on Crunchyroll or something like that. But it's called Kill Blue. Okay.
I think I've heard of it.
The premise of the show is it's this hitman. Okay, he's like, they say that he's old, but he's literally my age. He's a hitman. He's like divorced, and his ex-wife works in the organization that he works in that sends him to be a hitman or whatever. And he does like this mission, and there's like this, I guess, group of like wasps or something that he had to, like, some top secret experiment or something like that. Well, eventually he gets stung by one of these wasps and he passes out, has to go to the hospital, all this other stuff. He comes to and he wakes up and he's in the bot. He is de-aged to his middle school self. Okay. So he has de-aged.
Conan Mystery Detective?
He has de-aged himself now, and he is in the body of a middle schooler now. So he's 13 years old again, but with the same mind as his own 38-year-old self. Okay? And now that he's younger, he can actually do some missions within a middle school. So now he's tasked with going back to middle school. He was a school dropout when he was a kid, and now he's kind of getting a second chance to go to school. And now that he's an adult and he appreciates everything that he missed out on, he's enjoying himself in school. Like, he wants to learn again, and at the same time, kind of deal with the BS of drama during school at the same time, where he knows it doesn't really matter when you look in hindsight at all the stuff that happened to you during your schooling years. None of it really mattered. You thought it was the most important thing in the world, and devastated by whatever, this girl didn't like you, whatever, or you're getting made fun of, all these types of things. But now he's an adult and it's like, it doesn't really faze him anymore. So it's kind of a perspective of like, okay, what if you de-aged by 20 years or I don't know, 25 years actually? Like, what would you do? What would you do different? What would you do? What would you appreciate more as your younger self? So there's part of that perspective. And then there's the silly anime stuff as well. And there's the slice of life stuff a little bit, but it doesn't really have much of that. It's more of such a, it's more of a more absurd type of scenario where I don't know. I kind of dig it right now. So been watching him like 4 or so episodes in, and I like it. I think it's it works out for me as far as the storyline is concerned, because it does start getting into that whole like, oh, he's still a hitman type of angle, and you see the greater enemy that he has to expose over it. So you get that action as well. You got these action scenes within the school, and he's basically, he's like he's a killer hitman. So he's still got these skills even as a middle schooler, because he's still got the mind of his old self. So he just has to work with the body of a middle schooler. But yeah. So promo code math. There we go. Because he's having fun learning about math again. Alrighty.
Well, as Andrew might mention Blue Sky, I'm going to say follow us on the Twitter. Charles the True, Dapri Holes.
We're not in Blue Sky, by the way.
We're not in Blue Sky. Sports_Goofs, FJOJR Jr., Panthers historian, Marlins historian, everything else that the guys are part of. Me, I just keep it.
Feel free to get some of our merch. Yeah,
get our merch, buy merch. We want Taco Bell.
Sell some Marvel stuff there, so yeah. There you go.
Like, listen,
apparently
we just don't want to do
Rito is back. I didn't know that.
I just get the Lush box at this point, or Lux box, and I just
me too.
And they're generally just delicious,
Yeah.
But I had Wendy's the other day.
Pretty good value too, actually.
Bad enough. It's an excellent value. I'm not going to non-sponsor this, but like, in today's economy, where everything is super expensive for no reason, and corporations try to tell you it's the driving prices, and people will still buy it because we don't have good alternative foods that are low cost and we don't have time to cook. They give you a great value. That being said, my non-sponsor is super obvious. It's a game. It is not Witcher 3, which I did beat during the time period when we were off for like a week or so, going from there. But it is Star Fox Remake on your Nintendo Switch 2. I took a half day Friday. I had stuff I had to do, but I got the pre-order in and everything like that. I love that game from 30 years ago. It was one of my first N64 games that I had gotten, and mind you, in circa 1999, maybe 98, games were very expensive for a young kid. So, yes, you had one game. I remember getting my WWE or WF Warzone and my Mario 64, and that's essentially what I had for my N64. But I remember going to Hollywood Video and renting that game multiple times. I played
Hollywood Video.
Yeah, that's how old I am. You guys think Blockbuster, and we're just like, nah, we got something else.
No, I remember Hollywood Video.
Yes.
I'm not that old, man.
For the two people who listen to us out there. So I had that, and I would just play all the time, and it was very different, very compelling. And then I had played Star Fox Zero when I was in law school, funny enough, and that was for the nostalgia. But it felt kind of dirty, right? It's just it's going on a date with somebody that you liked when you were younger, and then all of a sudden you just realize it's just what you liked about them, the same attributes not there. Platinum Games tried their best with that game, but it was whatever. So I'm doing some work on the between. I'm like, all right, it's time. Let's just go do this. I turn on and I'm just cheesing, ear to ear, grinning. I was one of those few people who didn't even hate the stylistic and artistic choices that they put, because people wanted the recency bias of the Mario Galaxy design, and that's understandable. It looked great, and then we did like the guy whose name I forget right now, voice acting coming into it. But I was like, listen, man, I got new recency bias for you, and that's gonna be Fox McCloud looking like a legitimate fox as he's going through. I have put in probably 4 or 5 runs through, and the first run, I was like, why is this stuff so hard for me? I thought I was good at it. I didn't realize that I was essentially going off of muscle memory from all those years ago, that I was doing the hardest route. Because that's the thing how Star Fox is designed. You could do easy, medium, hard. And, those playthroughs are kind of different of how you structure it. And, they have an expert mode too, which I haven't engaged yet, but that's be interesting because they want every medal. I'm like, I don't want a medal chase. Just give it to me as unlockable. Let's make it easy. I digress. But the first run through was about literally 4 or 5 hours. And what was killing me was just at the very end where you're going against, the Wolf Squad. And I just couldn't go from it. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Because that's the thing of why you need the replayability too for it, because it doesn't like give you enough time to hold your hand as other games do, like linear single player games where you're getting the training and everything like that. And you have to it's an instinctive kind of game. It's an on-rail shooter that goes open. But I'm going through that process. I'm dying the whole time. I know every line that Wolf, Leon, and Pigmo was saying. Andrew was like, can't let you do that, Star Fox. Not so fast, Star Fox. And then Pigmon goes going saying, Daddy's not here to protect you. I can do their voices probably going from there. But I had the muscle memory even when I was getting Andros. So I had beaten it the first run. And it's not a game that you could say you define as beating. You just get the true ending, but there's other things to get back into it. And I've just been all smiles. It plays well. Maybe you wish a little bit for the hitboxes to be better, sure, but it looks fantastic. And I've had pleasure playing on all different levels of it, and I've just really enjoyed it. It's a visual beauty. The gameplay holds. The music is great. I tried their online mode against other people because I have talked about that, about what I would desire from it, and I was playing a little bit during the show, but I'm a little bit Star Fox out now because I've been putting some grind into it. And I've done the easy route, the medium route. I've gotten all the levels except for like one warp box, and I'm like, okay, I'll get to it at some point. But what I cherish the most out of it is that it allowed me to make other people happy. So as I was visiting the family, I brought it and I put it on for mom and I put it on for dad, and then mom's just like smiling because that's how we would do it, right? When you're in Polk County, Florida, you just move to this place that you don't know, and you somehow convince your parents to get you a Nintendo 64 when times are tough on a rent-a-center, when they actually, maybe it wasn't rent-a-center, but when they let you like rented stuff to own consoles and not, when you could buy physical cartridges, fuck off Sony. I'm not even gonna count it as a curse box. It's the sentiment of all the people there. And just seeing them where they're going to remember. My dad's like, I don't remember any of this. And he's like, I remember the fly. I don't remember the animals. I'm like, well, Dad, there's a furry fox here. And then just see my mom's enjoyment. I think I saw this picture of my sister too. So allowing me to revisit nostalgia, because I hate the 64 era, and I can't go back. But also not just revisit nostalgia, but enjoy what the moment is. And that's the problem with nostalgia. You fond over it too much and you can't enjoy the present. But this is a true remake that does it their way to modernize it and then add on some extra mustard and put some elbow grease into it so you can really appreciate what the future is going to be. So I likes it. I loves it. I want some more ofs it. You guys have
Nice.
known my love of it for so long, of what I like about it, because I think it just makes a lot of sense. And what the thing is like you just don't have a lot of dogfighting aerial games out there. Thank you, Ice Combat. Not to say that's my favorite genre, but we are oversaturated with bad military shooters. We're oversaturated with these terrible Souls-like games that we say are good, but really Stockholm syndromed out. And and then these just very long, overdone RPGs, no matter what they are. So it's just kind of refreshing to kind of like, hey, this kind of worked to a degree. And I have the full confidence to say, yes, I gave it an 8, but that ratings don't mean anything when you talk about the feeling. You know what I mean? And you reflect back onto it. And I can't wait to compare it 30 years down the line when you have like Nintendo whatevers in 2056, and I can compare which one was the better of it. And I just loved it. That's my long rant. You guys knew that was coming, so sorry to take up time. But Star Fox, promo code
Barrel roll.
Yeah, barrel roll. I wasn't gonna do it. It was gonna be cheesy, but you gotta do the barrel roll, right? Just so good.
All right. Yeah, I haven't gotten it just yet. I think I gotta wait it out. I'm still kind of processing a lot of things out of me right now. And like I said, I've been watching anime again, so I also finished My Dress Up Darling as well. So
and it's just two different designs, because I'm that shonen boy and you are very much cozy slice of life or very weird stuff. But that's how you get to grow a little bit. I watched some of your shows, and then I have some in my backlog.
All right, so we're an hour and 19 minutes into this. I mean, yeah, the physical games going away for Sony, and Microsoft's going to do the same thing. They're or probably going to get rid of that for the Xbox, that the Project Helix or whatever they're calling it right now. So PSX probably not going to have a disc drive as well. So that's I mean, as a PC player, I was already living that anyways. But for my Switch 2 and the Switch 1, I initially thought I was going to be very digital once it started happening around like the 3DS and Wii U era, and I just found out, like, for me, it just felt more simple just to actually buy them. And I think maybe a couple games, like Smash Brothers, I bought digitally on the Wii U and on the Switch as well. So it's like, oh, I'm going to play that all the time. I'm always going to have it on my console. I don't want to be taking out of the console and then have to switch it up. But surprisingly, I didn't do it for anything else. Mario Kart World came with the Switch 2 digitally, so I couldn't really do much about that when it came to that, because I really haven't played it much. I still just play Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 3 and Rocket League. Rocket League's only digital, and then Splatoon 3 is kind of just lives in my Switch 2 at this point. So, but yeah, the physical game's going away. I mean, it's going to be the end of an era for sure. I think, but they've been saying this has been happening. This is going to happen in like the last decade or so. So I think they're finally going for it.
Yeah, we addressed it like 3-4 years ago, because I remember talking about it, because I was giving my whole thing of like the Charlesing and trying to explain the rationale, because I said at some point they're going to catch up to people like me, and that's fine. It's just a dynamic. I told you guys, and I will save my very long soapbox and shorten it to very, very simply. You need companies to make very stupid decisions to reset business ideas. And it does happen a lot in the gaming industry for whatever reason. There's a little stuff that hits the panic moment's acceptable. It's just the the breakdown that we talked about is just like there's going to be only a few select people that are going to want to buy a $1,100 console and who are going to want to buy $80 games. And you go into digital and you're going to give it discount, but it's not going to be the discount like 3-4 months later. And the people who get affected from it is like the third party publishers because they already have to kind of chill out a bit anyway. And sure, they're saying, hey, we're not seeing the production where it's more digital than physical. Well, part of that is because of the fact that with digital, you don't have to pay tax, right? So it's a little bit of a common logic where people are pinching pennies to a degree as it is. I don't like to think human beings are so lazy that they just don't want to just not have the capability of installing something on a disc when I could just download it from there. I really like to hope that humanity is not just gluttonous and sloth and all the other, or gluttony and sloth and all the other seven deadly sins that we talk about. It's tax break. If you're doing $8, right, and even like higher because we started making these ultimate editions very popular in the PS3 era, 360 era. At in Florida, we're like what 7.5. That's some money, man, that you're putting on, and people do it continuously. But I'm the only person who thinks they'll walk back on it because they've walked back on their dumb mistakes before, like PS3 and stuff. And it might be a thing where they just might do limit invoice, but it's just they don't want to take when you create new items, you always have to kind of sell at a loss to a degree, and they're treating it as if it's like a necessity. And gaming is a necessity for some people, not going past the people who try to make a profit off it on Twitch and everything, and all the other streams. But I always feel like these companies look at it as the basis like a vehicle, right? When you need to drive when there's no public transportation. Is it disappointing? No, I think corporates are bastards, and I'm not counting that to the curse count either. They're always going to think about going for the stakeholders, but you are the consumer. You can make the choice of not purchasing it out. That was the thing I said about Grand Theft Auto being at the 80 or 100, and I'll hold to that too. I'll respect anybody's decision. What you're doing is you're undermining your ability to make money later on, and that's what the thing is. Sometimes you can take it in business concepts, you can take that money that you're initially getting and bank onto it, but people aren't going to want to save a nickel and dime for a game when gas is still close to 4 over 4 because certain people should not be elected officials and everybody else would follow suit. The price of groceries is going up. There's going to be that hard decision. And with these data centers, they're just eating everything up for just mecha absorption, is the way I would call it. it it's going to be folly, and what's going to happen is like everything else, because they want to be treated like they're necessarily like car dealership. They're going to see what happens with a car dealership, because what happens with the car dealership, trade in whatever you got, go do this, go do that, we got to get money, we got to get all this stuff like that, and you cannot do it on a digital construct because you're essentially paying for a license out, and you're going to lead to more closures and everything like that. So it's bound to happen, because what happens is you don't have the same, with every new leadership that comes in, you don't have, with these kind of business, you don't have the same leadership, you have new leadership, and they all come in with these new pressures of, oh, games are too expensive, we need more cash, so we need a maximum product. That's what it is. You spent too much money on what a game ought to be. You let the studios go high with the budget, and you gave the clearance to produce and fund it. That's on you, big dog. Because if people respect the brand, and I'll tag Sony onto it, I don't need a Naughty Dog game if I know they give me a lot of consistency to push everything to the limits of this console. If you treat it with the mindset that it's like a computer, your computer is built specifically your way, you buy the games that are funded into it. Could you get more? Yes. So that requires you to add on some stuff in there. If you like the developers, it looks interesting, you'll buy it, even if it's not at the most maxed out push out ratio of graphics processing, FPS, everything of that nature. They got silly. They drank the Kool-Aid. They read a little bit too much on the Twitter stuff, and they had this belief that consumers are sheep and will buy everything at full price. But you know what the beauty about all this is, boys? When it goes, I know I've been talking long about it, but I have passion. I am passionate about it. Is that we will still be able to decide where our money goes. And when this idea flounders and they have to backtrack it in some way, shape, or form, they lose their jobs over it. So there is a little justice to it in that sense. It's the sometimes the longest knife is the one that hurts the most kind of thing, and that's what it is, because it's going to take some time coming into it. But this is why they already said 2028, because they could not do it in instantaneous production, and they're going to be tempering the market. And the thing with Xbox, it's like they've already flirted with it, but they gave you all these too many capabilities of it. And Nintendo's just going to have it. And I can understand costs and everything like that, but buddy, you got into the business. And the problem is we fell in love with this global corporate concept that it should be all the monies and cost and production and everything should be minimal. And it does not work that way in a business. And we can say that as lawyers. If we want to go solo, whatever money we're raking in, 2/3 of that is going to capital and expenses and case law licensing and everything of that nature. Oh, we're probably paying for Microsoft, you know, uh, Office and Outlook and all that professional. They're going to learn that hard way because people are going to look at the alternative and there will be an alternative and it might just push into Nintendo, right? Just as a theory. But that's my only conjecture. I think it's important to kind of talk about it, even though we're a variety show, game show, because it's not just a statement about like, oh, console's not there. Every form of a business is doing it in the same way because they really think you as a consumer are a fucking idiot. They really do. Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
I just realized I was on mute. But anyways, it's subscription service for everything. uh,
We're sports goofs. We have the goofs of a reason.
yeah,
You missed
that's fine. I'll
Francisco's
edit
very
that part out.
supportive statement.
Anyway, it's like my car. There's a subscription service for everything. My car had a feature where I could turn it on just using an app on my phone. The app doesn't exist anymore. It is gone. I cannot access it in any sort of way unless, I don't know, I'm going to try and hop on the Reddits and the YouTube and see if somebody's found a way to access it without it, because I've been able to do some magical stuff with my PC, so maybe there's a way to do it with cars, but I can't do it. And it's obviously Mercedes trying to do a planned obsolescence and that sort of thing where I have to then try and buy a new car. My car's 100,000 miles. Maybe you want to get a new car and it'll have all new bells and whistles, and then that'll be locked behind a subscription fee or something like that. So
The car dealerships already did it when they created the fobs. And what's funny, like I have a
mhm.
fob and I have an insert key in there to
Yeah,
open my vehicle, but if
yeah,
the
mine
battery
does that
dies,
too.
I don't have the capability to turn on my ignition and my engine.
Yeah, yeah. Now the cars can lock you out. They're trying to implement some AI stuff where the car will determine if you look sleepy and will may not turn it on, which is going to really, really suck for a lot of people who just have like droopy eyes. I have no. It's gonna be insane, and how dystopian it's gonna be when all these services, all of these things that we're doing. Like I try and limit it to just a few things. Like I have the Nintendo Switch online. That's one thing. I got Amazon Prime, and then I have the MLB Marlins package, so I can just watch the Marlins. And then, really, that's pretty much it. I don't really want to subscribe to much of anything else besides that, but yeah, there's all these services that probably shouldn't be subscription packages, and it's got to come to a head at some point with some of all this. But I don't know. How do you feel about this, Andrew? Not just for the gaming stuff, but like things in general, especially the loss of physical media. Like I've been trying to see if I can purchase movies again. Remember, you guys, I was going through this whole thing of downloading all the DVDs and stuff that I have and putting them on my hard drive so I could preserve them in some sort of way, because eventually those things are going to go. So I'm trying to find a way to keep some things, but I don't know. What do you think, Andrew? Is he
I
here?
hate it, man.
Oh,
I
oh yeah.
I I hate all this. I know the phrase end stage capitalism gets way overused, but it's I just hate it, man. Call me stupid if you want, but I believe that companies have an inherent responsibility to, I mean, make money, sure, but to not completely wipe out the planet, their customers. And I mean, you've seen this for years with, the EA's games, sports games, or even 2K, or it's particularly noticeable with sports games where they are taking away features and then reintroducing them after 10 years, making it seem like it's something, ooh, it's brand new.
Not only do they reintroduce them, they
And
put them behind a paywall.
right. And they make these minuscule changes that they brand like, RPM, or, hockey IQ, or whatever. And on top of that, they're putting all of their resources into Ultimate Team or anything that has loot boxes. It's there. I believe there used to be and there still is, a sort of inherent contract between the consumer and the companies where, give us something that is a good product and we'll buy it. And it's, sorry, I'm trying to think of the words here. It's the company's putting out a good, it's a reciprocal relationship. We expect you to put out a good product that we will enjoy. And if it is a good product that we enjoy, we'll buy it. And companies have taken advantage of that to the point now where you're getting these, I'm going to use my curse word, these shitty games.
That's one.
And products. I know I keep harping on the games, but it's really everything. I mean, Francisco, you hit the nail on the head with the Mercedes thing. I used to have a Toyota, and it had this really cool feature where from your phone, you could see the status of your car, where it was the car locked, and you just through the phone app, you had to pay some money to do it. You had to pay, I think, $15 a month, which is BS. I didn't curse that time. And that was a fantastic feature because everyone forgets to lock their cars on occasion. I'm fortunate that the neighborhood I live in is gated and everyone's really cool. But a lot of people aren't that fortunate. So you forget to lock your car and it could be gone. And Toyota, the car that I have now, doesn't even have that feature. You can't even buy it. It's obvious that that is a possible thing to do. It's not an impossible product. It's been done, but Toyota or Honda chooses not to have it. Or, I mean, it's ultimately the problem is somewhere along the line, and now I'm going back to all companies here. Somewhere along the line, the companies either forgot or just chose to not care about that contract, that social contract anymore, and decided, you know what? We are going to squeeze every penny out of the consumers come hell or high water. And unfortunately, a lot of these products, they maybe not a necessity, but we're a captive audience. There is, thanks to EA back in 2004, we are in an era over 20 years now where companies have exclusive rights to sports games. NHL is the only one that has the NHL license. EA has the only license for NFL, NHL. Sony has the only license for MLB. Whatever 2K's company is, I think Rockstar.
Take Two.
Take Two, yeah.
Oh, Take Two. They have NBA. And there's no incentive that is the whole point of banning monopolies in this country is, let's be honest, this is a monopoly. It for all intents and purposes, sure. You see some little indie companies that are making football games now, or are trying to skirt it a little bit because they're saying it's not a simulation game or what have you. But let's be honest, it's a monopoly. And if you have no incentive to, and that's what got this all started. 2K put out a fantastic video game with NFL 2K5, and they put it out for half the price of Madden. It was a superior game for half the price. Madden or EA didn't want to have to go through the trouble of doing anything. They were lazy, so they just bought their way into mediocrity.
And it was also the NFL didn't want to seem like their brand was devalued by having a $20 game. So that's also another reason why they did the dirty with EA. Because the NFL has to do their own thing.
That too. And for understandable purposes, players can't get concussions in games. It's not fully realistic. But, and again, I'm harping on video games, but it's everywhere. You have products that, for example, my old car has that, it has the detection system around it. Someone backed into me when we were in a parking lot. It was a tiny little dent in the back left bumper of my car. So tiny. You could see a dent, sure, but tis but a scratch, as the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail would say. It was one tiny little quarter, and it killed the entire sensing system for the entire car. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you're seeing it too. Finally, the EU, European Union, is getting around to people saying they have a right to repair it. Before, you were SOL. If you had a problem, you had to go and pay this exorbitant amount of money to the company that made your technology. And Apple is certainly one of the worst offenders. Finally, the EU and courts are like, enough of this. You can't just have the Lightning as your charging. It has to be something universal. And here in the US, Teslas now have to have the ability to have a universal charger, and vice versa. Companies just want money, and they've lost the plot. And I want to hope that at some point, I don't know when, but at some point, I'm hoping there is a rebellion. You were alluding to it. There might be a rebellion here with video games because, and
let's classify a violentless rebellion. CIA.
Yes.
FBI. No bloodshed.
Yes, a bloodless coup,
You hear that,
what
CIA?
have you. And on top of that, the other thing is, let me go back to what is the real problem here with Sony deciding to go full digital. And really it makes the process a little bit harder, but it's still a problem nonetheless, even if you have the physical disc, is you can essentially steal someone's game that they paid money for.
Well, they don't want you to
It's
loan out. That's part of the other thing about, to interrupt very quickly. It's not about stealing somebody else's game. Think of it more practically, is that if I buy a $60 game and I paid that money and I say, "Hey Andrew, you want to borrow this $60 game?" I'm depriving them, and you're, culpable for depriving them of making their nut, basically. And that's what they also don't like about it, aside from the cost of production, everything of that nature. Sorry, just had to interject on that.
well, there's a couple of ways to fix that. One, make them a little bit cheaper. Well, that's never going to happen.
You guys have heard
make it
talk
so
about
it's
that.
more accessible to people. Games should not cost $60. No, we're up to
80.
70 now.
80.
Well, I think 80 is the exception because it's GTA 6, but
Mario Kart World was 80.
oh, was
now,
it? Okay,
yeah,
so we're up to $80 now.
But contemplate this to add on. It's never just 60, because a lot of games have this benefit of doing like seasonal DLC or additional DLC. So really the true value of the game that you're seeking is hitting the 80, 90, 100 range. Your Assassin's Creed games, mid as they are, always have something in there. And live service games, don't get me started, but those are always at least generally free to play, and it's up to you to make that determination if you want to buy skins or other characters. But that's at least that's, even though it's an addiction based game like the gacha games, it's still a buyer's benefit because you just say no, right?
And don't even get me started on these games that come out incomplete.
Almost all.
Games are so overly reliant now on the internet. And I know the internet is basically everywhere now, but some people don't have access to the internet. You're knocking out a whole bunch of people for no reason. For the longest time, I had game consoles and I didn't have internet, and I didn't have PS Plus or whatever that makes some of these games, that's the only way you can play them. Or if you have internet access, you can't play. If you don't have internet access, you can't play them. So that's one thing. And then also they're coming up with, I'm going to use another, no, I can save it. They're coming out with incomplete games. They're getting lazy. Again, there was the social contract. We expect you to come out not just with a good game, but a complete game at release. If you have to delay it a couple of times to make sure that it's good, okay, we're fine with that. I mean, it reaches a point eventually where it's a little bit ridiculous, but
I don't know about that one, buddy.
A short delay or two can be acceptable if it's for legitimate reasons.
Konami would like a conversation with you.
But now it's just look at Cyberpunk 2077. That was a complete that was a complete mess.
At the beginning.
Supposedly it ended up being really good, but that was a total calamity.
I mean, there's plenty of videos about Cyberpunk 2077, and that was pushed by the board of CD Projekt Red, trying to push it out the door when it was, and with all the COVID stuff, it probably, had they gone with the same thing they had done with The Witcher 3, it probably would have not had the same reception at the beginning of all it. But I think CD Projekt Red, once again, the consumers letting their voices be heard, with how terrible it was, that the PR disaster and all of that actually did improve the everything when it came to that game, and Charles can attest to that because he's played it since after all the bugs
I didn't
and
pay
everything.
full price.
Yeah, so
I traded in
you
credits.
never do that for anything, but
but I'm the bad guy. I'm the one they hate. Because even if they fixed it, and even if they took the attempts to correct the matter, and they provided you with a pretty solid 8.5 and created new content, I still said, hey, I'm just going to trade it in and get it for free. They hate the Charles thing.
But let's Andrew, can you wrap up your point a little bit? We're at 1 hour and 47.
It's 1 hour 47.
Mm-hmm. Trying to keep it under 2 for the AI.
So, yeah. So my ultimate point being is there has to be a reckoning some point if you're a consumer. The people have to stand up at some point and say enough is enough, because right now we can't rely on the government to do their job, which is to make sure that things are fair between the people and companies. So until that happens, the people have to speak with their wallet. And right now, I don't think enough people are willing to do that. So who knows? I hope things change. I would like to see a more fair. I would like to see that social contract come back.
I'll leave this up on maybe a high hope at least, because you are seeing some of that in Europe. There was a massive change because you mentioned the whole lightning bolt thing with the lightning cable thing with Apple, and now we all have USB-C for everything when it comes to chargers, which is great. But yeah, people are trying to sue Sony or create a class action when it comes to accusing them of having a monopoly because only their games can be sold on their store. Essentially, nobody else can sell. They say, "Oh, we have a retail presence, but they're just gonna have digital cards at Target and Walmart and GameStop." But the other thing is, like Epic Games went through this whole fight with Apple because of that, because they had their own store that they wanted to have on the App Store for Apple, and Apple's like, no, only our store can sell things. And they're still in this battle right now when it comes to that lawsuit in the US. But in Europe, they won, and you can download the Epic Games Store on your iPhone over there. So there is some hope when it comes to that. And there was also hope when it came to the right to repair type of thing, where in Europe at least, when it comes to batteries, now they're telling the European Union that companies have to allow consumers to be able to buy replaceable batteries again, because we lost that a long time ago. So Nintendo recently they're making a Switch 2 model that will have a replaceable battery. So I think some people are going to try and import that from Europe so they to here to the US to see if they can get that. And hopefully Nintendo will just be like, well, screw it. We'll just make this the normal model from now on and just have the option. So there is some hope out there in the world when it comes to this. Some actual laws being pushed and passed, and some lawsuits that are making that happen. So there is some hope out there. We'll see. We'll see along the way. So yes, there's some doom and gloom, but there is some light there as well. Okay. All right, then. We're at the last 10 minutes. It's been a couple minutes on baseball. I guess I don't know if Charles wants to. I know Andrew definitely would. But
I'm not gonna say.
I think this tweet or this post that Charles made and then I posted it kind of sums up his feelings. I won't ever fear the Reaper because Aaron Boone managing the Yanks is more frightening than death.
Yeah. Well said, Charles. Well said.
And then somebody uncovering a Jeff Passan tweet from 2011. My porn name is Freddie Cheswick, which is actually a pretty awesome porn name, I think.
Jeff is a sniper.
I love Jeff Passan.
Yeah, he's an international treasure that must be protected at all costs. There's no schlitty spitties, that's for sure. For Charles right now.
It's just a yank me down Yankees lately.
Mm-hmm. But
I know what hell feels like.
But I'll just do. We always kind of do this like a little rundown through the standings in baseball where everybody's at right now. because you know what, we can kind of harp on it a little bit, but as far as our teams are concerned, I think we're all well, except for Charles, feeling pretty good about things right now. I mean, well, really, the Yanks and the Rays are the only two good teams in the American League, so you got to
Like,
feel
we're gonna
good
make
about
the
something.
postseason. Andrew's gonna make the postseason as well. It's just like I'm waiting for Cashman to move the needle. Sorry, you had to interject. I hate Boone, and like the pitching rotation's tired. It's why? That's all I can say.
But
Why?
the
Why is
Rays
this team
are
my
the
damn
hottest
manager?
team in baseball right now. They've won 8 games in a row. They've zoomed past everybody right now. They have the second or the third best record in baseball at the moment. The only team in the American League that has won 50 games at this point, too. 4 games ahead of the Yankees in the East at the moment.
Yeah. We've lost like 8 straight.
Yeah, the Yankees have lost 7 straight at the moment. They are the coldest team in baseball. So opposite ways for the 1 and 2 in the American League East, which is insane that the Rays are only 4 games ahead. That's how far the Yankees have fallen. The Rays have moved up. So that run differential is going up for the Rays too. And they have
the Caminero MVP.
And then yeah.
Are we going to get is this going to be the Rays' first MVP?
I would like to think so. I mean, Junior has been like, from a Rays fan's perspective, aside from, let me be perfectly honest, what Wander Franco did, I just taking the sports out of it was horrible, and I'm glad that he got some justice. Not a lot, but some. And ultimately, sport comes secondary to that. That aside, he was supposed to be the future, and that was a bit of a hit for Rays fans to see. We finally had our new Evan Longoria.
But that's insane that you guys found a second future so quickly.
He was supposed to take us to the promised land, Wander Franco. And just like that, it's gone. And then, as Francisco alluded to, all of a sudden, here comes Junior Caminero. And he's making Franco look like a scrub in terms of the stuff that he's been doing. And what was even more amazing is he was somehow able to not be affected by the home run derby curse last year, and he decided he's going to come back and do it again. Junior, we are lucky to have him, and it's whether he gets MVP or not. I really think he tied Ken Griffey Jr.'s record.
Yeah.
He tied Ken Griffey Jr.'s record for the most he didn't. No. I take that back. He broke the record for the youngest player to hit a home run in 6 consecutive games. Beat Griffey by, I think, a year or 2. That's insane, man. That is absolutely insane. And the rest of the team is maybe not necessarily, gluing around him, but he is definitely pulling a ton of weight and is bringing the rest of the team with him. I mean, then you've got Chandler Simpson, who is the speed demon that you got to see in person, Francisco. I think I'm bad luck because the one game that I go to, we lose.
Yeah, and they have the best record at home in baseball right now too, which
it was
maybe you shouldn't leave Tropicana Field. maybe they should just stay there. Just forget about this new stadium. And especially just like, we're just gonna make this work. We're gonna have this ballpark, and we're just gonna make it work. So
Dome Sweet Dome, baby. Dome Sweet Dome.
31-12. I mean, as far as the American League MVP race is concerned, now that Aaron Judge is probably not going to come back for a long while, it's looking like he may not come back until September, at most. And if the Yankee season turns at some point. I mean, do you shut him down? I mean, that could be a legitimate question. I'm not sure, but
I mean, it depends on the severity of the injury. But the thing is that and this is my only. I'll shut up for the remainder thing. If you see smoke, there's fire. Maybe you have to go get bats now.
The American League MVP race. You got Yordan Alvarez, Nick Kurtz out in Sacramento, but I don't think he's going to get any of those votes. And then Junior Caminero in Tampa, especially if the Rays team can win the American League East, would have. I mean, this is your best season. I mean, Aaron Judge is out, so somebody else has got to win it. So those are your guys there. And then the Chicago White Sox are leading the American League Central. Feel good story of the season for sure. I really
the power of Christ compels them.
Yeah, I mean it's just
really like hell is freezing over here.
Murakama, like that whole thing. It's just fun. Cleveland's there as well. And then the American League West is the worst division in baseball. Somebody's going to win that by default, and it's not going to be the Angels. The National League, like I said, my Marlins they had the best record in June in all of baseball. They stormed back to a winning record now. 4 games above 500, 1 game back of the final wild card spot, and 5.5 games back of the Atlanta Braves, who have been also stumbling as of late. And
bad.
Yeah, Philadelphia Phillies, Don Mattingly took over, and now they're good again. But I think they're just playing up to what they should have been playing up to, anyways. But in any case, a new voice in the clubhouse is always good. And then LA Dodgers doing their thing, winning the National League West by default. The Padres are frauds. The Milwaukee Brewers are also leading the National League Central, but they are regular season merchants, as we know. And then the rest of the wild card is pretty close for the National League. We are at the last minute, guys, so that's why I'm kind of rushing through this. So I think, do you guys want to say your goodbyes? Any parting words?
Sami Zayn is my champion until next Monday when he loses to Cody Rhodes. We will have a cage when we return because there's some real crap going down.
All right.
And I have words.
Andrew, how about you?
I would just say happy Independence Day. Happy early Independence Day for everyone. Happy quote unquote true Independence Day today. This is the day that the country actually decided to separate. It wasn't until the 4th when the letter to King George was finally finalized. But here today, 250 years ago, they made the decision that it was time to leave this relationship.
All righty. And that's it for me. So, bye, guys.